my britches, you can wear my shoes. I salute. Life is breached by the impulsive movements of law. Pray my people left back in my homeland well off. Get that paper, curb the haters, my main plans took off. Proverbs tell a man, don't be slowful at what he's worth. Use the word as my shield, not ready but not caught. Well, I'm better in my face, still good on every block. Especially with them OGs running the barbershops. Back in the day, me and my crew, we ran middle G8, 808s booming back on my...
Alright, so welcome to SoulGood Talkin. I'm Ronald Parker. This is Tony Richard. This is Kendrick Fudge, and we got two special guests. We got Joe Martin, everybody's big brother.
Everybody's big brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Anthony Guy, the go-to guy for financial education. Man, thank y'all for coming.
I'm super excited about this episode right here because this right here is going to take care of hopefully all of our money woes, and like we're taking the hood off of just not knowing what we need to know about money. So let's get started.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. So financial education. Right? So, man, look, what is financial education and how can it help the coach?
Financial education. Well, the root word is education. Mm-hmm. So we all have some understanding of what education is. You know, we went to some form of school, pre-K, primary, all the way up. Many of us have high school diplomas or GED or whatever, right? So we've had some formal education. In that, we learn certain basic tenets of how to work with information, okay? Education itself has more to do with, as we take in information, how it is that we utilize that information to improve our life. So now when you attach the financial in front of that, well, it implies that maybe we have never had it. Mm-hmm. It's something that we need. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, it's major. It's something that should have been a part of what we've already partaken in as education. But we all know that it's not. Right. Most of us didn't learn this stuff in school. True. And unless our parents were like financial masters of some sort, right? we learned what we learned, but like we didn't learn exactly how it goes from our parents. So financial education to me and our group is a life skill in a nutshell.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So with that being said, why is credit so important?
Credit is an asset. Okay. You know, credit is the gateway to opportunity. You know, you got a lot of people out here that's trying to get to a certain level in life, a certain position in life, and credit is the one major factor that's holding them back from getting there. You know, you got a lot of families that want to put their kids in certain school districts and certain communities and things like that, but they can't live in that community because they can't purchase a home in that community because of their credit. You know, you got a lot of people out here that want a certain position within a corporate company, and they can't get that position because nowadays some companies are checking your credit profile. They're looking at your credit score. Auto insurance, you know, you getting denied, or you're getting higher interest rates or higher payments on auto insurance because of credit. So credit is important because it's the gateway to opportunities that a lot of people don't have. And, you know, I used to always say a long time ago, like, before I dove into credit and understanding it, you know, some people be mad at their parents because their parents never taught them about credit, right? But you got to understand that most parents don't know it either. You know, they don't know it either. And they think just pay your bills on time is the only way to have great credit. Wow. Because they don't understand the formula and the system of what's creating it. So it kind of, and a lot of people talk about the generational curses and things like that, but it's information that need to be passed down from generation to generation, because I think you will see a growth within a family structure when we educate ourselves on things that we need to know. You know, so I think like I said, it's an asset, man. It's a gateway to opportunity.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Guy, the way you broke down the education piece, and then how when we end up putting the financial in front of it, it makes as though we were missing something with the education. And I think I really second that, because I feel like in the school system, that should be a part of any grade
Curriculum.
any curriculum. You know, it should be a part of it. And you know, I think like within the high schools, my son's getting ready to go to high school, and so he's basically he was telling me about some of the subjects that's in high school, and a lot of it has to do with finances.
Mm.
So I'm seeing that there's like a turn from when I was in school, you know. But in your own words, like how would you implement that in schools?
So interestingly enough, so we're in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Georgia just recently passed a law, or as you could say, a statute or whatnot, to make financial literacy a requirement.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
kudos to Georgia.
Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
So our taxes are maybe going to good use, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. You got to
Mhm.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, there was already something on the books before they passed this recent legislation, and there has been for quite some time some degree of financial literacy embedded in some of the subject matter. Obviously, math. So if you think about some of the word problems, I mean, essentially it's financial literacy if we're talking about from a financial standpoint, but then also embedded in like civics and social studies. There are some little financial literacy pieces here and there, but it just wasn't like a requirement. It wasn't like a standalone, and there still isn't a standalone financial literacy education class. The legislation has not put that in place, but it is a start. So how we implement this? Well, shameless plug. Our firm, we really, we're a business like anybody else. So when you go into business, I'm just talking real. Obviously you want to create revenue, right? You want to grow income and things like that. So as a business, though, right? Businesses are here to solve problems. Like there are problems. If you solve the problem, because of the type of enterprise system we have, right? You can generate income through solving problems. And if you solve a big enough problem, I mean, there's maybe a considerable amount of revenue that can come if you're actually solving the problem.
Right.
So our firm was like, well, we really want to solve the problem. That also means, we want to build our legacies with our families too.
Right.
That's the great promise of this country, because here solving problems is, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to help me. Solving problems is incentivized by way of entrepreneurship. That's a great thing. Right. In the history of the world, the society solutions did not come from the big halls of education or the religious institutions. It came from the marketplace, the entrepreneurs, the innovators. So our firm said, goodness, we have all these products and services that people need access to, that they don't really understand that they need access to it. People really need financial education more than anything. Right. So we searched the country and looked at many different types of curriculum, and just none of it was satisfactory. So we developed one of our own. So it needs to be something kind of like what we have, what we have, or something like what we have. Yeah. It's not just about us, but the idea is a group individually in our families needs to be so dedicated to this concept of canceling out financial illiteracy. So it's not just having resources, you have to have humans that are like almost over the top fanatic within everybody's family. And it's great if the school system is on board with that, or you have private enterprise like us, and we need to attack it on all, we need to attack the financial literacy, not bring more products to the marketplace.
Right.
Because the literacy is going to make the products relevant. The products are what they are. We have them. I mean, you need life insurance, you need a 401k, you need this. Well, we need that. But as individuals, do we really have a clear understanding of how that is a benefit to me in the now and on into the future? And then as Blacks, we talk about this building legacy or generational wealth, right? But very few people know even where to start with that. Education, we've always said education is the key. So it's also the key in building generational wealth.
All right, so you show me what I need to do when I make the money, right? So big brother.
Yes.
I need to know how I can take this credit,
Okay.
and generate me some wealth.
Okay. So getting access to working capital, first thing.
Okay.
Right? So you got a lot of people that's visionaries. Black people, man, we some creative people, you know.
I agree.
And we have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great visions and things that we want to accomplish, but we don't have the resources to even get it started.
True. That's
Okay?
real true. Yeah.
You know, and it ain't that we don't have access to the resources, we just don't have the education to understand that the resources is usually right in front of us.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have to learn how to tap in to people that we're connected to get to the next level.
Right.
Okay? So what I tell people is, once you establish your credit, right? Go get access to working capital, because it ain't about how much capital you have, it's about how much capital you have access to.
Okay.
But even when you get access to that working capital, it's good to have a Tony Guy on the team so he can understand and show you what to do with that working capital once you get access to it.
Absolutely.
You know, making proper investments. You know, I tell people, use credit to create cash flow. Okay.
How do I do that though?
So let's just say, for instance, right? Let's just say if a person found a property, right? Let's just say a person found a property that was $100,000, right? And they need anywhere from 10 to 20% down to get access to that property.
Right.
Most people don't have $10,000 to $20,000 saved in their savings account, and it'll take years for some people to save $10,000 to $20,000 in their savings account, right? But when you properly optimize your credit and your situation, you're able to go get access to $10,000 to $20,000 on credit. Now, once you get access to that on credit, the next thing that you could do is liquidate it. Okay. So like, say for instance, if I went and got two $20,000 credit cards, right? And this project was $100,000 and I needed 10% down on that. And I got two $20,000 credit cards, that's $40,000. I'm gonna liquidate $10,000 off of one of those cards. And now I have my down payment to get access to that property. You know, and that's where it starts at. You want to make sure that you know, just put yourself in position to be able to go get access to working capital so you can move, versus you trying to use everything that you got in your savings account to make something happen and you gambling with your life savings. Right. I would much rather gamble with OPM, other people's money, versus gambling with something that I've saved already. You know, so I'd rather put the liability on business credit versus putting the liability on myself.
So you really have to do what you say you're gonna do, because at that point, you got this credit and you liquidate it, and that money you have to pay back, right?
You got to. The number one rule is discipline.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're trying to do in life.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you're trying to do in life. If a person wanna, I don't care what you're trying to do in life, right? You gotta be disciplined, and if you're not disciplined, it's gonna be hard for you to accomplish that goal. Discipline is number one. So even when you get access to working capital, when you get access to credit, you have to make sure that you discipline. You have to make sure that you got the right people in your ear. Because that's very important. It's the circle of people that you're around.
That's true.
I tell people all the time, like, and I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna use the word broke, but there's levels to broke. Because a person could be emotionally broken, physically broken, spiritually broken, financially broken. It's so many levels of the word broke, right? So if I hang with 5 broken individuals on any level of brokenness, I will become the 6th broke individual. So I tell people all the time, your circle of people that you surround yourself in is very important. So you want to make sure that you surround yourself around people who are evolving and inclining in life. And that's very important, the circle of people that surround you. Everybody shouldn't have the privilege to speak into your spirit, especially if they not on the right track.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So that means don't take the 10,000, go buy rims.
No,
right.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? Or just go blow it. Go ball out or something like that. So
make it create cash flow.
Right.
Turn it into an asset.
Turn it back over to Anthony Guy. Have somebody like him in your life to show you how to make this money grow and work for you. Because money is a tool. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I'm so loving this conversation.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, I just feel like I sit back, put my feet up, and get on the couch. I'm actually I'm on the couch, right? I'm gonna talk to y'all.
That's true.
I think sometimes we also may overlook how a person is socialized. So that brother or whoever who gets money and goes straight to get the rims or the this and that. Well, there's a reason why that has such a high value in his mind. That person needs more than just a financial education. That person might need some counseling. That person may need some therapy to some extent.
Or better role models.
Or better role models.
Or better people around him.
That's correct. So it's like a collective. It's a collective thing. Right now, all y'all brothers who love the rim, I'm not saying you need a therapist. But there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I think we need mental health.
Be your primary.
Right. No. I probably might get some rims one day too. You're like, well, he told me that.
But you got other stuff in order first.
Yeah.
Right.
Get other stuff in order first. Absolutely.
So it's really like, we're not saying like financial education is like the end all be all of everything, but it's like the start.
Correct.
I mean, we were. I mean, just think about this, guys. We had sex education in school.
Correct.
True.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, there's something that you could learn about on your own.
Correct.
Yeah.
But something that you have to have someone to teach you, which is money.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nobody in the crib just knowing how to flip
Right.
money like that.
Right.
I mean, it does take a certain level of logic and ability. So there are kids who are more apt to do the lemonade stand and things like that.
Right.
But even they're learning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got kids who making $1,000 and then they just go spend it on some choices.
Right.
So it's still talking about the same cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So it requires a holistic approach.
Right.
A team approach.
Right.
So like Rich Dad Poor Dad talked about his Rich Dad advisor. Right. Robert Kiyosaki didn't just say, I'm the man, I have advisors. I got a tax person. I got accounting person,
Mhm.
I got a real estate person,
Mhm.
I got a stock person,
Mhm.
I got a this person. You know, he had a team.
Team.
I've gone through what's called Money Smart Education,
Okay.
and we talk about your Money Smart family.
Okay.
So it's the same concept.
Right.
The bottom line is wealth is built. It's a team sport.
Okay.
It's a team sport,
It's a team sport.
and it may not just be your family, because if you don't have anybody in your family,
It's financially literate.
right.
Right.
And we're not just talking about the person in the family that's just always talking about money.
Right.
That doesn't equate financial literacy.
Right. Or just the uncle that got a real good job.
Exactly.
Right.
Or the uncle that's got the really good job.
Yeah.
Because in our communities, right, for some reason, we know the reason, but it's that financial illiteracy piece. We equate more money with more financial intelligence. I mean, it's just par for the
If
course.
you got money, you gotta know how to get it.
You gotta know how to get. That's the thing. Misconception.
There's people out here making some what we call really good income. Now, you know, I'm gonna say any income is good because all the dollars spent the same way.
Income, right.
Exactly. But there are people who have a considerably higher income because they have a job that kind of income is attached to, that are making the same financial mistakes as people who make far less than them. To some extent, though, that higher income gives them a little bit of a buffer,
Okay.
you know, up to a certain extent.
Correct.
I mean, they just can't completely ball out stupidly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they have a little bit of
Leeway.
leeway.
Yeah.
You know, you're making $300,000 a year and you have a house that's the same size as a person making $50,000. I mean, you actually can do a lot because you got a lot more cash flow.
Right.
Assuming you haven't spread yourself too thin.
Right.
Then then you gotta come see Brother Martin to
Right.
get you together.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to stress is that it's a team sport, and we could really bring in that term community. We talk community as people, but we're really not building communities. We're all like working in our little silos.
That's true.
And then we pay lip service to community.
Well, it seems like it's like this. Like if I know something that makes me money or get me well, we don't share it with nobody. You know what I'm saying? We keep it to ourselves. I know a lot of the older cats that I know that got bread won't share, okay, how you do this and how you flip that and how you do this with it. And I'm like, why are you trying to help us build generational wealth? I need to know.
Maybe they don't.
And maybe they don't know. That's the thing. And maybe they don't have a full circle knowledge of what they're doing. They know just their little corner.
Right.
And they're still trying to advance themselves.
Gotcha.
And then maybe for whatever reason, you know, they won't even share that little piece. But it's always another side to the story.
Because if you think about it, like a lot of our parents that age 60, 70, 80s, or whatever the case may be, they were late in the game getting introduced to 401ks.
Right.
You know, probably later on, you know, that's probably their claim to fame. You know, they started putting as much as they can in contributions in their 401k, and that's all they were like exposed to from companies and whatever the case may be.
See, that sparks another question that I definitely got for you. We was always taught that, you know, when you especially working, you know, 9 to 5 was 401k,
Right.
Put your money in the bank, save it. Now, do you agree with that?
Well, it depends on what your goals are.
Okay.
See, the thing about money, it's always based on goals. You know, money has to have a plan behind it. Otherwise, it's just like, it's just air floating around. Well, actually, if you think about it, get technical, you know, you have air and breath is not the same thing. Air doesn't become breath until you breathe.
Yeah.
So money is like that. You have to give it a purpose.
Right.
If it has no purpose, just floating around, you know, it just comes and you just let it go, you know.
It's like a shovel at
All
Walmart.
over the place.
It is there until you get it and use it. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
So when we talk about a bank account or a 401k, we're talking about tools as well. So money itself is a tool, but then now we're putting another tool around the tool. You know, it's almost like you're a human being and then you get inside of a submarine and you go under the water. But you're controlling it, right? So it's a tool inside of a tool inside of a tool.
Right.
But the idea is, what's the whole purpose? There's got to be a reason for me to get in the submarine and be floating around in the middle of the ocean.
So what would be the reason for me to put my money in a savings account in the bank?
So literally, to simply save money. I'm not even trying to be funny.
I
Like,
know.
it really might sound
I know.
like, you know,
but and I say that because the interest rates are so terrible that I'll never see anything off of that. So why should I do that versus something else? And is there something else that I can do?
So you see how we're unpacking this thing? It's different layers to it. Somebody could just jump on the table and say, don't ever put your money in a savings account. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
It just depends on who I'm talking to. I mean, having the habit of saving is a fundamental wealth building habit
in itself.
Bar whatever your interest rate is. I understand exactly what you're saying because, the average bank account, a savings account in America is around like 0.09% savings account, right? And so we may say, that's just so terrible. Well, but it's been that way a long time. True. So is it terrible because it's terrible, or is it terrible because we didn't have the financial education and the connection with financial professionals to access the other products that where you could get the higher interest rate? Because then now you put in perspective, well, what is the bank for? See, many of us are using the bank as an investment when, if you open-minded and heartedly looked at the interest rate, you couldn't possibly think that this was a good investment at 0.09% unless you just didn't know what you were looking at. Oh, that's
most of the time.
That's 9.
What we're looking at.
It's a point. It can't be 0.09.
That's what it is.
This must be 9. Like, I'm not even. There's no way that this is 0.09. That must be 9, right? It's gotta be. It can't be 0.09. Like, that's not even 1%. Right. And so you go to any financial educator worth his salt, you're gonna hear the concept of the rule of 72. Right? You know, the rule of 72.
Okay.
It's a very common thing among financial educators. But it's a mental math shortcut. Okay. So we're going back to education. Because you need to know how to calculate, do some math, right? But I'm about to show you, this is something that, when were you exposed to division, simple division? What?
Third grade.
So this concept, which you guys have heard before, and unfortunately many people, because they hear it a lot, they still think they know it. Because the idea is, if you know it, then now next thing is, are you applying it to your finances? So the rule of 72, mental math shortcut, you take the number 72 and then you look at whatever the interest rate is on your account and you divide 72 by that number. So if you have a 1% account, 72 divided by 1 equals 72. Now, what does that mean? It means that it would take $1 an entire 72 years to become $2.
Oh my God.
Oh,
wow.
No. I'm done.
Now, and we literally, and I ain't talking about we could have done. A third grader, third graders are learning this right now. So, we totally could have known this at least in the third grade, maybe even before. Because some of us got some whiz kid children that be in kindergarten be doing stuff, right? But let's just say across the board, by 3rd grade, a person could have a clear knowledge of what it would take in terms of interest rate now, not products necessarily, but for their money to double over the course of and how many doubles can you get in the course of your lifetime? You know, that's determined by how early you start, right? But at 0.09%, would somebody like to do the math? You got a calculator? I could just say it, but just, yeah. I wanted to be so 72.
Just number 72.
72 divided by 0.09.
800.
Okay, do we know what that means, guys? 800? It's not talking about 800's credit score. Think about what we just said. That means it will take $1 how many years in order to double?
What? Wow.
800 is that 800 years?
800 years. Y'all still here? Your heart just stopped?
Boy,
You know?
Oh my God.
Thanks.
And people out there in YouTube land or social media land, you've probably heard this before, and you was like, "Oh, that's just so terrible." But like, did you really think about it?
Yeah, really,
Like, you really contemplate what that actually means?
So what you saying is, it's kind of, it don't make too much sense to.
Not from the standpoint of an investment.
Gotcha. If you just save it just to be saving, it's fine, but not for an investment. Gotcha.
And also, banks are really good at what we already know. If you work a job, don't you get your direct deposit? You got a checking account to make transactions.
Absolutely.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
So now, if we think of it for anything else, we're just misplacing our attention. That's all. And that's where financial education comes in.
Come on, dog.
And the earlier you get it, the better. Because it's not like an overnight thing. Like, we need to spend time on this stuff. Like we did math, reading, arithmetic. Reading, writing, arithmetic.
Well, since we're unpacking it, go ahead and tell them all the way. The banks are using your money to make other loans and things of that nature. They're getting the higher interest rate and just giving you a couple of pennies for the ability to use your money.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think the banks, in America, for every dollar that a bank have, they could lend up to $10 for every dollar. Now in Canada, it's even worse. For every dollar a bank have in Canada, they could lend unlimited. So when we put our money in the bank is benefiting more than the people, but it's a level of education that people don't know. Like you say, most people just put their money in the bank just to make transactions.
Correct.
In life. Yeah. Unless you really just dive into it and say, you know what, let me further educate myself and find out what can I do with this money that I'm saving in the bank.
Right.
You know, and I want Mr. Guy to touch a little bit on 401k versus IUL. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, if you look at a IUL, which is a index universal life insurance policy, you know, one thing, and you compounding interest, probably more interest than that 0.009 that you saving. You compounding interest, and also you have a cash value, I believe, that you could pull from with the IUL, and it's non-taxable. Versus a 401k.
What he said.
Right.
Our big brother.
Big brother. That's right.
When Big Brother speak.
You listen.
Yeah, but you know, it's so many. It's levels, man. And I'm not no insurance expert, but the circle of people that we like. That's why I go back to the people that you surround yourself in. You know, it's important to have the right circle because you learn more. And once something hit and you think about it and you contemplate on it, now you want to further educate yourself more on that thing that you found interest in.
Absolutely.
And that's where the evolution starts. That seed that was planted from that circle. You know what I'm saying? Like so, you know.
Where y'all find this guy?
I take credit.
You told it.
Well, my sister found it, then I found
Come
it.
on.
Yeah. So let's just get, since we
This is
already
great.
in the meat, bump the size, let's get meaty with it. Like, so Joe, what is some, like, the biggest challenge you see that people have with credit challenges?
The understanding and the education.
Back to the education.
It always goes back there.
And if I may, so this book right here is called How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. I didn't write it, but our good brother Joe has a book that he's going to tell you about. But the point of me bringing this here is it's a book that our firm put together to highlight the main concepts that are necessary to understand in order to be considered financially literate.
Right.
See, now if someone couldn't read, automatically you're like, this brother's illiterate, you know? But like, we don't even think like that when it comes to money because, quite frankly, most of us are financially illiterate. So we can't even assess it in another person, you know? So one of what we call the 7 money milestones in the book is debt management, which would imply everything dealing with credit. I mean, it says debt management, but it's anything dealing with debt, instruments of credit, how you're servicing that debt or credit as well. So that's just one bucket in and of itself. So this subject matter of credit leverage is it just kind of is encompassed by one bucket. Hopefully this will kind of give a perspective on how important financial education is, because you could just specialize in one bucket. Now, then there are strategies that Brother Joe has that would touch on the other buckets, like building wealth, right? How are you using credit in that regard, right? Cash flow, right? Some people might use credit as an emergency fund, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just have one card that's a $6,000, I mean, if you calculate your 3 months of income and it came up to be whatever, you know, $3,000, you have one card that has a limit of $3,000 that you use it for nothing more than emergency. I'm not necessarily telling you to do that, but I'm just saying that's something you can do. And that's where something that is encompassed in this one bucket, but it can impact other buckets, layers. But it all comes down to, again, getting the education and now working with, you know, people that can develop a plan and a strategy. But then beyond the strategy, there's the implementation. Joe, how many times have you recommended certain things and the people just didn't do it?
Oh my God, man. You know, that's a major word, man. That word implementation is major. See, people learn so much information and so much knowledge. They get resources and things like that. I teach people things. You know, I was looking through my database the other day, and I've given people access to a system that would take them from A to Z if they implement the system, if they come to the classes and do it, right? The other day I was looking through my database at the people that I gave systems to, and would you believe that I see people in there that has 0% progress, that have never even logged into the system to implement the resources that was given to them. This is, listen,
Go
let me tell y'all something, right?
This brother's passionate about it.
And I love that. Because we need that.
He's ready to fight. Like, we gotta open this thing up.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I tell people all the time, right? I don't respect free. I don't respect free. And the reason why I don't respect free is because when you look at the actions of what I just said, I've given people access to a system that'll get them from A to Z. And then from there, they'll go up, continue to go, right? I've given it to them. So therefore they don't appreciate it because they didn't invest in it. You know what I'm saying? So this is one reason why I don't respect free. You know, if and I'm just saying that because, right, implementation is everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Like and I love my people so much, right, that I want to see them grow, and I want to see them come from a hard place and get to a better place, you know. But it always boils back down to who are you giving your ear to, how are you applying your time, and what are you doing to get in a better position. Right. You know what I'm saying, Tony?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, man.
I do 100%. Bro, when the way the brother just looked at me, I said, bro, let's go. We're going absolutely together. I just met this brother today, and I just feel like, I mean, I've known you for my whole life. That brotherhood, man. We were locking arms, man, and just kind of cracking the code amongst our people.
And with that being said, it's like the people, they don't want it as bad as they think they want it. Because they would be willing, I mean, they don't take it serious, like you said, because they didn't tax.
I think our culture, and just me, from what I see, we like to look like we got something, more so than actually have something.
And we don't want to work for it.
And I don't understand that. Maybe y'all can help me out with that. But we like look like we got something, show. I'm gonna go buy this. I'm gonna look like this, and I'm gonna, get on Instagram and do the trips and all that. And when I come back, I'm coming back to hardship, and I'm struggling. I don't understand that. That's why we here.
Right.
Just really, so y'all can give them that education. So hopefully, and like you say, I know you'll respect free, but this is gonna be free.
No. See, it's
actually not free.
Everything.
Yeah.
Because you actually have to invest your time and your attention to this video.
Yeah.
How many people will just kind of, let me see what wrong with them talking about?
You can scroll past it,
and then
TikTok,
right, and then they hear it from somewhere else. Man, did you hear what they were talking about? Well, no, I just was on there for like 2 seconds. You know, thank God they can always come back. You know,
absolutely.
Invest in time.
Yeah, I think it was
invest in time.
I think Benjamin Franklin, and I'm just saying, it wasn't George Washington Carver, but it was a white guy, Benjamin Franklin, right? He's just known to have made this statement: an investment of knowledge pays the highest interest. I really feel like education, this is a step two, aside from financial education. But if we look at education in general, and let's think about what kind of education do we have?
I agree with that.
Now, if we're talking about what kind of education have we received, you understand, can you really receive an education? I mean, just something to think about, things that make you go, I mean, can you really receive an education? Like, in other words, I can just give you everything, be like, this is your book, you got it, right? You are now educated. I mean, just here, we got 1 billion classes for you. Just come on in here, buddy, and sit down in here. And
is that answer no?
Well,
because you have to.
For me, it is.
Yeah, okay, I agree with you.
No.
You have to still implement and apply yourself. So even when somebody gives you something, right?
Yes.
Me giving it to you don't mean that you're receiving it. It just means you taking it.
You take it,
right?
Exactly.
That means you taking it.
Receptive.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
You gotta want it. You gotta want it.
Yeah.
You gotta want you.
Right.
So
like
desire.
You can take it. You can take it.
Take it all day.
You can take it all day.
But are you gonna?
Are you ready to receive it?
Yes.
Word.
So desire is the starting point of all achievement.
Right.
Now picture this, find purpose in what is worth as profit. Change the game and appreciate daily losses. And maintain humility as your substance.